Welcome to the Creation of Living podcast. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm delighted you're here. Join me for conversations and inspirations for creating way more in every area of your life and living. Welcome, everybody, to the Creation of Living podcast. I am here this week with the lovely and amazing Suzy Godsey, who is just a magician in many, many ways. She's a magician with bodies, a magician with animals, a magician with technology, and just a magician and a wonderful person, and an access consciousness facilitator. And she facilitates lots of specialties. She's been part of developing Talk to the Animals and ESSE, the energetic synthesis of structural embodiment, which is amazing, amazing work. And gosh, what else? Conscious horse, conscious rider. There's so many things. You have so many credentials.
Oh my gosh, it's always so interesting when somebody says them all out loud. I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, thank you for having me, Heather. I'm really thrilled to be here with you.
Me too. I'm excited to talk about, so we're going to be talking today about what if your body could be your ally, which to me is like such an important conversation right now in the world where, the body has taken, bodies have taken a big hit in the past year and a half, basically being made, wrong and evil and not acknowledged for what they're capable of. I did an ESSE class with you. So ESSE being like structural embodiment. It's a hands-on, beautiful modality. For those of you not familiar with it, that literally just melts judgment and it melts the structure of the body so that your body can become something far greater. And it was just such a it changed my world with my body, and it changed the world, and just really seeing how what's actually possible with our bodies that we don't consider to be possible. So
yeah, and that in itself is so it's such an important conversation to have right now, and like you said, Heather, because it's it's always been that the body has been seen as the culprit of many things. If you look at all the religions around the world, I don't think there's a one that actually celebrates the body, unless maybe it was a religion that, at some point was about, having sex all the time or something like that. But I'm literally talking about the mainstream religions that are out there. None of them see the body as a gift. To all of them, the body is a hindrance to become more spiritual or to become greater. And and access consciousness is the only modality that I know that is celebrating the body in a way of, hey, let's include the body in our journey to being more conscious. The body may know something that we could learn from it rather than the other way around. And I have to say, there's been so many times when I first started working with this energy that's now called ESSE, I was really perceiving what bodies desired. And I was just working with the body, and I didn't really recognize that I was so tuned into the body until I started working on people other than Gary, the founder of Access, and Dane, the co-founder. All of a sudden, I realized when I was working on other people that there was this other strange thing going on, and they often couldn't really receive the session. And then Gary had to inform me that I was most likely not being willing to listen to the being. And I thought, what do you mean? Wouldn't the being also desire what the body wants? No. And that was the first time I was like, what? What are you saying? Can you come again? So that was really the first time I recognized, oh, wow, there is a discrepancy here. And our beings see themselves as the superior thing, and the body is that stupid thing we drag along in this reality. And hopefully have a little fun while we're doing it, but we don't give our bodies credit. And it's so funny, in the ESSE class I might say something like, and I'm going to ask you right now, or all of you that are listening, so right now, okay, just lower your barriers, take a breath, just be present with your body right now, just forget about all the judgments you have, and now just go and ask your body, truth, can you walk through walls?
That made my body really happy.
I know, right? So it's so interesting to me. Like, bodies have a consciousness and an awareness we're not allowing them to really have. So what is it, if you were to stop judging your body, but actually started to see your body as a possibility, an ally in your life, what else could you create? What is possible if you started to see your body as a conscious ally
Yeah.
on your journey?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that's available. And I know Dane here, one of the co-founders of Access Consciousness, he says, your body has a consciousness of its own. And just hearing that, like the first time I heard that, it made so much sense to me, because I had been working, I've been working with bodies for, I don't know, a long time, like since the 90s, and, teaching movement and doing body-centered psychotherapy and all this stuff that I've done for, in different ways, and was always sort of like facilitating people before I had the tools of access. But I think it was facilitating people to kind of discover through movement the consciousness of their body, and like what the body knew and how the body would like to move. And we had all these, like, the body's way and your body's way and all these different things that we would play with. And when I heard that, I was like, yes, okay, our body has a consciousness of its own. And when we're willing to listen to it without judgment and without a point of view, and also follow it in matters that pertain to the body, everything gets easier. Just to, like, people may have heard this story before, but quick, like when I found Access Consciousness, I had really severe seasonal allergies. I had a bunch of stuff going on, really bad back pain and all this stuff. So, and I was like a yoga teacher and a dance teacher. Like, I was not your typical kind of person that would have like chronic back pain, and the allergies were really bad. And every year it was like, what can I do? I got to do the diets and the acupuncture and the urine shots. I mean, I did everything, everything to try to get rid of these allergies. And I would always clean up my diet, like way clean up my diet in the springtime. And so I started playing with the tools of access, and I started actually asking my body, what would you like to eat? And I got rid of a lot of my judgments about food, and just acknowledging that my body might not always want salad, and and my allergies just went away. I started really listening to my body. And it wasn't because, like, I stopped doing all of the stuff that I thought was going to help my body, and just started listening to my body. And, people ask me, how did you get rid of your allergies? I'm like, I don't really know. I just started listening to my body with pretty much everything, and in a way that I hadn't, even though I had been working with bodies for so long. There was still this structure and this judgment of, like, this is how you need to be and move, and this is health, and this is blah blah.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that in itself, I mean, and even if you look at even my lifetime so far, I've gone through from, butter is good to butter is evil to butter is good again. So, I mean, even just alone that could be confusing. So, and there are so many other things that are just like that, and that's really it. There isn't a perfect diet for everybody, and there isn't a perfect diet, period. And so, yeah, again, what if, like you said, what if we were to listen to our bodies? What else could we really explore and also find out. And there is so much more. I know that we're really just beginning with all of that awareness. I really get that there's so much more that bodies could really show us and contribute to us, you know. And in Access Consciousness, we talk about certain things that seem to be like a miraculous thing. Like, could you move from point A to B without a plane, train, or automobile? You know, and again, if you ask your body if it could do that, I always get a yes on that, and I'm like, well, that's exciting. So what's stopping me from all of that? You know, what is stopping me? And yeah, a lot of it is in this reality. You're not supposed to be knowing this or doing this. And you know, even just walking through walls. I mean, which bank would like for us to be able to walk through walls? You know.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Well, and that makes me think a lot about ESSE, because ESSE. So maybe just talk a little bit about kind of what it is, and because one of the things that I really got when I took this class with you last year was how much our connective tissue and our fascia, like just the tissue of the body, is so influenced by our judgments, and the judgments that we don't even realize we have. Not just like, oh, I'm fat, but the judgments of food, or the judgments of solidity, like I can't walk through a wall. Those are all judgments too. And we're sort of creating the body all the time with those judgments, whereas the body could be creating itself from a different place.
Yeah.
And with ESSE, there's this like, I just got this sense. I remember at the end of the class, I was like, gosh, this is like, there's this like melting of the connective tissue of judgment, like not just in the bodies, but like all over the world, like this energetic thing that just kind of runs, across the planet in a way.
Cool.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, such awareness that has continued to contribute to me. So talk about ESSE a little bit.
Yeah. So Gary, the founder, actually has said that ESSE dissolves the glue of judgment in the body, which to me, I still get goosebumps when I say that, because it is really interesting how every little judgment we have, and for example, too, even getting older, you have judgments about what happens when you get older. You lose your eyesight, you lose your hearing, you lose your bowels. I mean, it's just, it just goes on and on. The list goes on and on about what happens to your body when you get older. And I do get too that a lot of those things don't have to occur, or your body gets more stiff and is no longer supple. And after an ESSE session, I have to say that the bodies really have more of that sense of space. The space, we call it the space between the molecules, really, because the molecules do have a lot of space around them in comparison of how big the atom is, and then the electrons around. Like, there is a lot of space in every molecule. And so we're gifting the body the possibility to have that space again when we're touching it with that energy. And it just gives bodies a sense of peace and a sense of freedom that they haven't had. And we've had some really cool things go on with this that it's so interesting. You cannot plan this, or you cannot really even it like, there's so many people that have come to these sessions and they have like chronic pain for years and years and years, and they go on the table and somebody works on them with the ESSE energy. And by the way, first time in the class, not a body worker, not a knowledgeable, chiropractor or any of those things, just a person that is willing to touch a body with an energy that allows the body to create something different. And people get off the table and are like, whoa, okay. And so funny, a lot of people then say, they don't say anything. They say it weeks later because they're worried the pain will come back, and they're like, oh, I wasn't sure if this was going to last, so I didn't say anything. And weeks later, they will say, my pain went away when I got off that table. So that to me, those are incredible stories. And of course, you can't have the expectation that ESSE is going to fix your body, because it's really you that needs to get out of the way and allow your body to do its magic. And if you're willing to be that energy and have that with your body, then yeah, miracles can really show up.
Yeah, so true. So true. Yeah. Wow. And I love the piece about, like, people that have never done it before. Because that's one of the things that I think people a lot of times they get confused with access consciousness, because like with the access bars, class, you can take that class and you don't have to know anything about energy work. It's, and for anybody who doesn't know what it is, the bars is 32 points on your head that you just hold these points and things change. All this energy sort of dissolves and dissipates and releases and goes away, gets deleted. I was actually running bars on my niece this weekend, and I can't remember who it was. I was with my family, and someone said, "So are you, holding pressure points?" Or, it was like, "No, I'm just sitting here literally with my hands on her head," And so you can walk into a one-day bars class and know nothing about energy work, not be a healer, not have ever explored this stuff before. And you just learn these points on the head, and then you just hold your hands there, and you can change somebody's entire life and have no idea, And so same with ESSE and the body processes. Like, there's so many different modality, energetic ways that we work with bodies and access that you don't have to be like the energetic version of a rocket scientist.
No. Sometimes I wonder if it's even better if you have absolutely no idea what you're doing, then you don't really have expectations, and you certainly don't think that you know a lot. So sometimes that can be what makes it easier to get out of the way.
Totally. It's so true. People are like, "I know about this bone and this thing and this," and then they bring, their previous knowledge or whatever to,
Yeah, all the stories. I mean, when I first started with this energy, there was a point when I was asking, because I have no formal training in bodywork, so I asked both Gary and Dane, so should I take like a massage course or something? And both out of their mouths at the same time came, no! And I got it, because there are, you get so many points of views again about how bodies function and why they function that way and how you fix something and all of that. And I don't have any quote unquote knowledge about that. And so I just follow what the body is showing me. And it's very interesting how often I am in very strange places and people are like, how did you know how to do that? Because that's exactly where it's locked up or where it's hurting. And I'm like, well, I just followed what the body was communicating here, more or less. So yeah, and so that's the fun part, because I see people do that again had just no prior knowledge either. And it's just when you allow the body to talk, it will talk.
Well, that's the thing of your body being your ally, and looking at it in that, like, so much of, especially now what's going on in the world is this thing about bodies need to be controlled and even, kind of modified right now to be able to handle, everything that's happening. And there's no regard for bodies. There's no honoring of bodies. There's no sense of the consciousness of bodies and the brilliance of bodies and what they know how to do. I mean, even just as, basic as with the immune system, and then there's all the, being able to walk through a wall, or the other stuff that's, like, may we get there, but that approach of just like really not like being with a body, whether it's your own body or somebody else's body, and being truly with a body, which is a rare thing anyway, and like having no judgment, and just being willing to be present and listen is, whether it's that you're working on somebody's body or you're moving your body or feeding your body or going to sleep or creating something that you could ask your body about, just having no judgment and being willing to listen. It's just, wow.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah. And the more we do this, the more we can get there. And I think that is the gift of access in general, is to just have more awareness about everything that goes on, and also of your body. And like I said in the beginning, not trying to get rid of your body or to overcome your body or overcome the pleasures of your body or any of those things that seem to be so ingrained as what you have to do in order to move forward in consciousness. I've done so many spiritual things before I found access, and there was so much about just you had to overcome the body. You had to be able to basically transcend beyond the body, because the body was your hindrance, was your your klutz on your consciousness or something. And it's like, wow. And all that now to me is just a lie. And the more I'm willing to include my body, really truly include my body in everything, the more things are starting to show up. And I am really astounded by the stuff that is showing up. And it's like, whoa, okay, cool. This is really different. So, yeah.
Well, including our bodies in creation, that's another conversation too. But I mean, a lot of what we've been talking about is about creation, but like creating your life and creating a different world, and things that may not seem like they directly involve the body, but our bodies have awareness, and that's for me, there's been so much magic that's opened up in that way, from all of the tools of access, even the ones that don't seem to be directly about the body,
Yeah. Oh, totally. And you just said it brilliantly. So what else is truly possible if we're willing to just change our perspective? And really, access is just a very fresh and different way to look at things as well, which I find just so intriguing, because it's definitely not going by what is true and real in this reality.
Definitely not. Thank you. I'm very grateful for that.
Me too.
Grateful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much for this conversation, and I'm looking forward to having you here again in Boulder for the SE class, the SE weekend. There's an intro class and the whole weekend too that includes the intro. August 13th, I believe. Is it the 13th?
It could be. I see. This is where we both are very funny. I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. It starts on the 13th with the intro, but you are correct. 14th and 15th.
Yeah. And people may be listening to this after that as well, but what if your body could be your ally, and what else is possible with bodies, and getting out of the judgment that makes them solid,
Yeah.
they could actually have a reality that's way more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where can people find you if they want more Suzy or more ESSE?
Well, there is. I have my own website, suzygodsey.com, and I'm also on the Access website. If you look for facilitators, you find me there too. And all the classes are posted on both, and everything that's going on. My website may have a little bit more information in general about me, but yeah, that's probably the two easiest places to find me.
We'll link that in the show notes as well. So
Thank you.
thanks, Suzy. Thanks everybody for being here, and take care.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks for having me. Great conversation.
Bye. Thank you for joining me for the Creation of Living podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it and leave me a review. If you would like more, you can find all kinds of resources and upcoming events at heathernichols.com. Until next time, remember, my beautiful friends, the world thrives when you do.